Now, this next drill that we want to talk about, it's once we've already established our footwork and our fundamentals. One of the things that we want to talk about now is route running versus press. And one of the things we really spend a lot of time on is beating press, not only at the front of the route, but at the back of the route. And as you'll see, we have two dummies set up, and this is what I call release on a pass by drill. And basically this drill is set up for us to work a simulated release on a pop-up dummy at the top end of at the front end of the route. But also as we're running, whether it be a curl, or a hook, a basic route, anything that we have to come flat down the line, but it enables us to work our hands at the top end of the route and really work our hands and get guys off of us. So as you'll see this guy attack this dummy coming forward, he's going to work a release, and we work many different releases here. Basically, we give guys different options, about 3 different kinds of releases, and whether it's a single move release, a double move release, or a speed release, we want guys to play with fast hands. And one of the things we emphasize in working releases is we have to get the defender going into the direction that we want them to go into in order for us to work that release. And simply what I mean by that is we have to attack them in a certain direction, have to work them at the line. One of the things that we do first off from a release standpoint is see how fast we can get our foot back up to a balanced position and then work that release, but playing fast with our hands. So as you'll see, the wide receiver right here, he's going to attack this defender. Now he's working a single move release outside where he's going to stab him inside. He's going to come to balance, stab him inside. We want to work the DB off his line. We got to get him going the opposite direction of where we want to go. So as he works a rip right there. In our hands, we want to be compact. We want to be tight. We want to be fast. And the first things first is whenever we're going against anything where we're working a release, we want to play with live hands and keep our hands up above our waist. So no longer are we in that stance to start where our hands are relaxed. Our hands are in a position where we want to get them on the defender as fast as possible. So as he's working this release right now, he beats it, and now he's coming up at the top end of the route. And basically what he's working right there is he's working the club hand on his inside, but his second hand is what we call a short arm swat. We want to get the defender's arm down, because what happens in a lot of these cases is at the top end of the route, guys want to put their hands on you and grab you, so we want to get their hands off of us and then come on back. Now, as you can see, if I was to slow-mo this, that one of the things we cannot do is in order to take a false step in our footwork, we can't focus too much on our hands to where we're taking false steps on our footwork. Excuse me. So as he's coming here, one of the things he's got to do is he's got to get his shoulders over his toes. But as you can see, he goes to stick his outside foot, and now he's running around his inside. We never want to do that. We never want to sacrifice our footwork in order to play with our hands. So at the top end of this route, we're not only working our hands, but we're also continue to work our feet. Boom. This is a really good job right there. As you can see, we go back and rewind this one. Working a release at the top end, and now at our release part, and I won't spend too much time talking about the releases, but we never want to be that big with our arms. We want that arm to be shorter and smaller and much faster. The reason being, we never want to give the DB the surface of our underpads, because if they typically get in that position, it's much harder to get their hands off of them. So we want to be short, and we call that a swat. But at the top end, look at him playing violent with his hands at the top end. He sticks that foot. Now he gets the knee back to go to the quarterback, where he's able to drive back on that ball. Now, he didn't work a release at the top, and he's a guy that's very new to the position that's working it forward. So, he'll be getting better as the drills go. But we want to work a release at the top end of it. One of the things right here, if you can see, this individual comes up at the top end of the route, doesn't get his shoulders down, and that's what happens. If you're ever caught sitting back in that chair with your shoulders back, you're going to end up sliding because your feet come up from up under you. So now we'll switch it up. We just came back on the curl. Now we're going to come flat down the line as if we're running a basic route. And what we've done right here now is we back the receiver up to now he has a corner that's playing what we call a motor technique. He's going to be backing off of the corner. So what we talk about in that release phase is we want to close the ground as fast as possible and recreate a new line of scrimmage. And as we do that, that's when the quick feet fire and the different drills like that tend to show up. Because we want to close it as fast as possible. And one of the things that we don't want to do is overstride up to the DB. We want to be in a position that we close the ground as fast as possible and we come to balance. So you'll see shorter and choppier steps tend to be once a guy's closing the ground on a DB. Watch him through this. Boom, boom. Right down there, he's working his hands at the top end. Coming flat down the line. Really good job right here. Shoulders down over his toes. Sticks the outside foot, comes flat. Want to beat it with speed. Now, one of the things we don't want to do at the top end on the pass by is we don't want to have our hands overextended. And that's where penalties tend to come in. And as you can see right here, he's closing the ground. He's working his hands at the top end, and now he's coming flat down the line. And as we stated, we don't want to be as big at the top end of this drill, but we want to be fast with our hands and be violent. We want to work to the elbow of the defender. If we feel we can get to his elbow and get his shoulders turned, we've won. But we've got to play with violent hands at the top, fast feet as well. It's a great drill to work the top end of the route as well as the beginning of the route. Working a release and working what we call a pass by. And that pass by can happen on a curl route. It can happen on any time you're trying to cross the defender's face and you've got close man-to-man coverage. Right here, he just has, instead of rounding his cut, he's got to get his shoulders down at the top, stick the outside foot, and get the knee coming flat down the line. We never want to drift off the line to where we catch the ball. And this is too fast. He ran around his cut right there. So we never want to lose the emphasis of our footwork whenever we're working our hands and our technique versus pass by. And the ways that these show up, I'll show you right here. This is just a simulated one-on-one that happened later on in practice. And this is working the pass by technique. As you can see, he's working a release at the top end of the route. He's got a DB in close quarters. He has to get the arm down. Now, although this pass wasn't completed, as you can see, the footwork and the hands are what gets this guy into a position where he's able to come back on the ball and he's able to make a play if the ball is put on him. And as you can see it from the back end, it's the same. He's working a release. He's closing the ground on this guy, trying to recreate a new line of scrimmage. Now, he could probably close the ground a little bit tighter, and now he's in this position. He wants to get back to a position where he's working a stack on the DB, but also now that the DB is not in a position where he's beat originally from the start, he wants to lean on him. He wants to invite contact now that he's able to play with his hands. This is another one-on-one scenario where you see him leaning. Now he's playing with his hands at the top end of the route. When you look at it from the back. Now, his release from the start is a little bit out of control, and we want to be compact. We want to come to balance, close the ground on this guy and work him. He could possibly work him in a little bit more, but we don't want to be that wild with our hands. We want to be short, get the DB arms off of him right here. But now he's back leaning on him. You see him, boom, playing with his hands. Good. Really good job at the top end. We just don't want to push off as much with that backhand. The second arm, as you can slow it down, as soon as we get his arm down right there, I go back to lean on him. I just want to give him a slight nudge right there, but I want to bring that second arm, his outside arm, straight down and rake the DB's hand down. Another scenario where a pass by works, boom, right there. He's able to come back on the ball by getting the hands on him first. We want to play with fast hands. If you allow the DB to put his hands on you, which they are taught to do, they want to fill up on the wide receiver. They want to cut you off in your route by playing with their hands. But the faster we play with ours and the more violent we play with ours at the top end of the route, it enables us to come back on this ball right here. And as you can see from the back end, Right now, boom, getting that second arm. It's always about the counter move. We talk about all the time whenever we're working a pass by. Of course, we want to be violent at the top end of the pass by with our club arm, but our second arm is what we call the combat arm, and that one's going to combat their counter move. We want to make sure that when we rake down, that it's violent and it's strong to get that DB's arm down. So as he's right here, now he's got to be prepared for the counter move. He's got to get his second arm through, right here. His outside arm, first arm gets on him. Second arm, we want to bring that straight down, rake right through, and get his counter arm off of you.